Ladies and gents, how you doing? For some reason, this story was on the BBC homepage today. Like, we all really need to know exactly how to get the bins emptied. It's quite funny on the face of it, but then you read that it's from Birmingham. And Birmingham, as you all know, is such a dump that they stopped sending asylum seekers there. Because when they rock up at the bus station and take one look out the window, they beg the government to take them back to Mogadishu. Right, there's people who were racked in Saddam's dungeon, and after a brief walk past the university in Birmingham, they're on the first flight home. Yes, Uday might have burnt the soles of my feet with a molten iron bar because I missed a penalty in a friendly. But I think I'll go home. Anyway, I read this story, and it led me to go down a garden path, reading about Birmingham's wars in the last few years. So I'm going to talk about it because, it might not sound very interesting, but it's a case study with what happens if you vote socialists into power. Also, I think it's the only place that people from Middlesbrough can look down on. So that's a bonus as well, eh? Right, if you don't know, the reason the BBC's covering bin changes here, saying that recycling collections are returning to parts of Birmingham for the first time in more than 16 months, is because Birmingham is so inept. They've got no money and they can't even empty the bins. There's rats as big as cats on the streets of Birmingham, and if it wasn't for the new inhabitants eating them all, the city would be infested. Fortunately, there's 40 or 50,000 people living in Birmingham who'll scran rats all day long. They'll love them. They'll tuck into rats, swans, spuggies, you name it. So, that's the only thing that's kept the rat population under control. And before we gloat about Birmingham, cast your minds back only 4 years ago. I googled this to check that my dates were correct, and it was indeed 2022. If you ask the AI about the Birmingham Commonwealth Games, it gives you this hilarious answer. It says, it's successfully hosted 5,000 athletes from 72 nations. Yeah, I think 4,300 of them are now living in council houses in Solihull. So we'll gloss over that one. And it says, it got a key economic boost, bringing over £1 billion to the UK economy. And of course, there was some inclusivity, and that's nice, followed by a bit of city revitalisation. Really? So what did it look like before it got revitalised? What was it? Just a crater with a tent in the middle as the town hall. This is unbelievable. So what you can take away from this is that in the summer of 2022, Birmingham was on top of the world, and they were gobbing off about how much money they had and how much power and influence and inclusivity, and the people running the place thought they were stepping into a golden decade. All that cash coming in, all those tourists. And then 18 months later, city's in ruins. 18 months later, city's completely bankrupt. Streets are full of trash. You can't take the dog for a walk without tripping over a discarded mattress or stabbing your foot on a hypodermic needle. You couldn't make it up. Anywhere else, any other major city, they'd be sitting pretty for decades. Well, they elected the Labour Party, didn't they? One of the biggest issues for them was covered by the American media. It was when they were issued a Section 114, which sounds boring, but basically they issue those when you've gone bankrupt, and they tell you that you're not allowed to spend any more money. You've got to freeze all spending on everything that's not deemed completely essential. And yes, it's Britain, it's a broken country, so there's very fuzzy lines about what they'll determine to be essential. I'm sure Abdul needing to buy more turkey Twizzlers for the kids, that you feed, I'm sure that'll be deemed as essential, which is also part of the problem. But the main issue here was, as you might expect, commie gibberish and socialist policies. This equal pay claim here that CNN covered spells out exactly what the problem is with adopting these policies in the first place. It said Birmingham's effective bankruptcy was uniquely tied to hefty compensation claims it has to pay to former female employees who were historically paid less than men for similar work. And the bill for that was something like 700 million quid. They then famously installed a £100 million ERP system, which didn't work properly because they didn't think that you should test things before you spunk £100 million on them. According to this piece from Philip Hoy, the Oracle ERP implementation was originally expected to cost £19 million and modernise the council's finances. And in the end, it cost more than £123 million and the system still doesn't work properly 3 years after going live. Yeah, par for the course, isn't it? The only group of communists running something more poorly than the Labour Party in Birmingham was the Council for Agricultural Work in the Soviet Union that starved 10 million people to death. And after all that, obviously we're back at the latest one, which is apparently they might finally be able to empty the bins for the first time in 16 months. And they said it's going to start with a pilot scheme. Yeah, because you need to start nice and slow. You need to start nice and slow emptying bins if you're a socialist. It's hard work emptying a bin. And they said if the pilot scheme is successful, fingers crossed, they might be able to empty the bins by Christmas. Nice one. And then the headline changes, none of it's good. Household waste to be removed every 2 weeks instead of weekly. Brilliant. That'll be good for the rats. Maybe they're doing this to help feed the immigrants. I mean, that'll help, won't it? It might be an innovative new way to feed the poor, this. Just let them scavenge the rodents off the streets. And then there's a load of drivel about bin days, which I'm not going to bore you with. Anyway, the short version is, if you don't really pay much attention to the bins, is that story, Birmingham's woes over the last, I almost said 4 years, but let's be honest, it's Birmingham. It's been a wreck for 20. Birmingham can be an advertisement for what's coming to a town near you, because Birmingham was the first one outside of London that became majority non-British. And what that basically means to anybody who's got two brain cells to rub together is there's not a lot of high earners living in Birmingham or people who want to work for a living. So it's a perfect storm. Bring in people that don't earn much money, bring in people that are disproportionately on welfare, something like, 80% of the snack bar's wives haven't done a day's work in their lives. And then, cherry on top, communists running the local government, and this is what you get. Rats as big as cats, Stig of the dump living in your front garden, and an absolute omni-shambles for all and sundry. If you're unfortunate to live in Birmingham, shoot me an email and I'll try and start a GoFund. We'll get you a Kevlar helmet and a bulletproof vest so you can go shoplifting in Lidl more safely. And yeah, that's Birmingham. I'll put some links down there for you to read. It's a fascinating shambles, Birmingham. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.